Hi, it is Nikki with Discarding Betty, and tonight we are going to make sourdough discard strawberry shortcake. That's right, it's that time of the year. I have been craving some strawberry shortcake, and also at work, the girls are cooking for the guys for Father's Day, and the guys did the same for us last month. They cooked for us, just a potluck in the office, and they provided a wonderful meal for us. So we're doing the same for them for tomorrow. So I figured strawberry shortcake, sourdough strawberry shortcake would be the perfect treat after some baked beans, some pork butt. I know that sounds really weird. I'm not even sure I know what pork butt is. I'm not making that, obviously. And potato salad and all the fixings. So that's what we're gonna have for our lunch tomorrow. And I figured there's nothing like strawberry shortcake in the summertime. And the strawberries, they're kind of almost ready, not quite ready, but I found this beautiful bowl of strawberries at Farmer's Market, and I had to get them. Okay, hold on. Cole battle. Cole is messing with my cords. So I found some beautiful strawberries at Farmer's Market, and I'll show them to you. I was just rinsing them. I'm probably gonna dribble here over the sink and floor, but look at those. There are a few in there that maybe aren't quite as ready, but for the most part, I thought they looked really pretty and would be perfect. Oh, Cole battle. Just more bloopers. In fact, there are so many bloopers, I have to try to figure out which are the best of all the bloopers to put in, because I could have a whole show of bloopers. Nothing like a kitten. A rescue kitten at that. A wild rescue kitten from Arkansas. Now he's a Missouri kitten. He's so darn cute. That's the killer. Anyway, these are the strawberries that I'm gonna use and cut up for our strawberry shortcake. Our strawberry shortcake is gonna be homemade and obviously made from Betty, who, it's time to wake her up. I took a look at her this morning before I left for work, and she's on fire this morning. Let me pull her out. Oh goodness. Look at that. She overdid it last night. So she's overflowed and she's about right here now. So I wanted to get to this a little bit earlier, and I had some work to do. So I worked late tonight until 7, and so I just did not have time to do anything else. But we're going to discard, and we're gonna make some sourdough shortcake with Miss Betty here. So I'm gonna get started on the strawberries, cutting them all up, because that's our first step, because we want them to start sitting in a little bit of sugar and getting really sweet. So I'm gonna work on cutting those up right now, and I will be back once I have at least some of them cut up, because I don't think you probably want to hear my commentary for that whole basket of berries. So I'll be right back with a lot more berries. Strawberries. How do you cut your strawberries? I'll show you how I cut mine, and I'm just kind of cut how my mom taught me to cut, or maybe I just watched her cut them, but I always just cut the tops off, and if it's a little bit green, especially for strawberry shortcake, if it's a little bit green, I kind of cut a little bit of that off, and then I kind of fourth it, and then cut up those fourths to make small chunks. So I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it or not. I don't know if that's how you do it or not. Leave me a comment below and let me know how you cut strawberries. Maybe there's like a big trick out there, like the bacon I made in the last video that I had no idea that you could bake bacon. I mean, it makes sense, but I just never really thought about it. I always fry my bacon, and it's the best bacon. So if you have a strawberry cutting technique or tip, let me know, because I would love to know how you cut your strawberries. So I have a fairly large bowl here now of strawberries, and then I've got a small bowl that I keep off to the side, and that is my food waste and trash. If I have trash, eggshells, whatever, that's food waste too. So what I do is, my mom has chickens, and I will give her my food waste and she can give it to her chickens. So it works out really well. So I've got my little discard of food here. I'm going to put off to the side, and look at these strawberries. I have cut them all up. They look great. So I'm gonna get my sugar out, and we're gonna sugar these, and we're going to stir them really well. So let's get to it. Do you put things inside your cabinets too? Or am I the only one? I love my little notes I put in here. Like, my body is rested and my mind is clear. I don't know if either of those are true right now, but I'm trying to put that into the universe. So, and then of course my table settings and my chocolate cake recipe, that is one of my favorites. So it's an old family recipe, and we'll be making it at some point as well. I've never made it with sourdough discard, and it's a really wet chocolate cake, so we might just put a little sourdough discard in there and try it. But for now, we're going to stick with our strawberry shortcake. Let me get, yes, I have taken the heels off and I've got the house shoes on. Aren't these so pretty? So we take a girls trip every other year. We've been friends. We're in our 50s. We've been friends since our early 20s. We even celebrated, some of our 21st birthdays together. 3 of us girls, my friend Birdie, who you've already seen a picture of in some other videos, and my other girlfriend Marcy, the 3 of us all bought these insanely expensive, not to be put in a dishwasher, at a big tag that said do not put in dishwasher, do not soak in water, so you just gotta wash it and dry it. Anyway, these are ours, and they're kind of special too, because every time I use them, I think of them. So I'm gonna put a picture up right now of the 3 of us together. If not, I'll just show you one I have of Marcy and I, because I know I have one of us, I think even holding these up, and my friend Birdie took the picture. But every time we use them, we take a picture and we send it to each other and say, using our measuring cups tonight, making whatever it is that we're making. It's kind of fun. Okay. So I like my strawberries fairly sweet. So I am going to put more sugar in probably than most people do. This is what is this? A 1/4 of a cup. And I'm gonna put 1 full 1/4 cup and then half. I love to collect wood spoons from different places as well. I'm gonna put this off to the side. And this one came from, look how cool it is. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of funky looking. This one came from Kansas, from a family reunion that my mom and I went to. And I saw this and I was like, gotta have it. It's unique and different. It's a great stirrer as well. We're just gonna give these a nice good stir, get that sugar all through the strawberries so every single bite has a little bit of sugar in them, or a little bit of sugar on them. And then one thing I like to do when I am making strawberries like this with sugar, and I want there to be a little bit of juice in there per se, is I just kind of take my spoon, see if I'll back up here a little bit. I take my spoon, the back of it, and I just kind of press it against the sides with the strawberries, squeezing them. I don't want to mush them and make them mushy, but I want to squeeze some of that juice out. Now, juice will form overnight since this is going to be dessert for tomorrow. However, I'll probably take a little taste test tonight. Kind of press them up. And like I said, I don't do it really hard. Don't smash them. Just get some juice out of them. Plenty of fluid in here for the strawberries. So we are just going to let these sit in the refrigerator for a while, and I'm also going to make homemade whipping cream. Now, I can't make whipping cream tonight for tomorrow's lunch. It'll be disgusting. It'll be watery and gross. So unless there's a trick that I don't know about, if there is, give me a shout out, leave a comment below to let me know. But I'm gonna make a little bit tonight so that I can have some when I do my sampling. But then tomorrow I will make it in the office and just bring my hand mixer, and that way it's really fresh and ready to go with the strawberries and the homemade sourdough shortcake. I'm gonna get all my ingredients out and I will be right back, and we will make the strawberry shortcake. All right, I have my oven set to 450. It's preheating, we're getting there. It's 440 now, so we're getting close. So I'm gonna go ahead and put together the shortcake, the sourdough shortcake for our strawberry shortcake. So the first thing we wanna do is mix our dry ingredients, and we are going to do 1.5 cups of flour. All right, our oven is ready. And I'm just doing an all-purpose flour, which is usually what you do for most baking, but I just wanted to make that clear that I was doing an all-purpose flour. So there's our 1 cup. And then I just use this as my scraper to get the actual amount that I need in my cup, or 1/2 cup. So you can see just a nice flat line there. And then I am going to put in here, these remind me a little bit of scones or a biscuit. They're not like your normal, well, it's not a sponge cake at all, like some people eat with their strawberry shortcake. So this is more biscuit-y. Is that a word, biscuit-y? So we're gonna do 1/4 cup of sugar, my French again. And then we are going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And again, I'm using my little Himalayan salt, pink Himalayan salt. We'll just sprinkle that in. And then we are going to use a tablespoon of baking powder. And we kind of want to try to get a level tablespoon as well. So there we go. We'll put that in, whisk this together. Just mix the dry ingredients. We want to do a little more gentle when we are going to be working with really cold butter. Oh, I meant to put the butter in the freezer and I forgot. Well, it is in the refrigerator. Been there since I bought it, so it should be good. But usually I will take my butter, and when you have to grate it, when you're making different kinds of like biscuits and stuff, you'll grate it, and you almost want it to be a little bit frozen. Not completely frozen, but I usually will put it in the freezer for a few minutes just to get it really, really ice cold. I forgot. So we're not gonna do that. Pie plate, and this is just a regular grater. All the different sides. I do the large side. And don't grate your fingers. Yeah, great advice, right? I've done it. So we're just gonna grate this. Won't take too long. Oh, I should hold it by the wrapper. Will help a little bit. So you want to work fast. You want to work fast. Obviously your hands are hot compared to the cold butter, and that's when you need to be really careful, because that's when you can get your fingers or knuckles caught in the grate. Okay, so we have the butter grated, and now I'm gonna move this back over, and most of the butter is gonna stay inside. So I'm just gonna move that butter to the bowl. I'm gonna put my hand inside and try to get as much as possible. My hands are clean. I'm a constant hand washer all the time, washing my hands constantly and using hand sanitizer at work constantly. Okay, hands are washed. This is the fork. I was gonna say that it's kind of a meat fork, and you're going to, my cat's above the counter, so if you see me looking up, that's why. Keeping an eye on him. He's infatuated with my camera stand. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of gently coat this butter in all the flour mixture. I guess I'm really not being that gentle, but I'm not really working that butter. I'm not squishing it together, and I will show you what I mean. If you can see the pieces of butter that's in there. So I am just kind of gently, not pressing, I'm just kind of with the fork, getting basically all those pieces of butter, getting flour, that flour mixture on all those pieces of butter, okay? And now you're gonna kind of want to work a little fast because of the butter. So next, not everybody puts vanilla in their shortbread or shortcake, but as we learned in the last video with pancakes, I am a vanilla, a vanilla must-have in everything. So I'm gonna put a little bit of vanilla in here. We've got 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream that I'm also going to put in here. Okay. And we are going to stir and discard. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. I mean, when I said she had a party in her micro house last night, this girl partied, overflowed and partied. So I am going to, oh, I want to stir. So I'm going to stir her real quick here. Oh, so good. There's just nothing about this that doesn't make me happy. Makes my heart happy. We're gonna give her a good stir. And then I am going to pour here. I'm gonna pour a cup, but I'm only gonna use 1/2 cup, because I need to discard anyway, because I am actually going to discard Betty tonight, and then I'm going to feed her, and I'm actually going to put her in the refrigerator for probably until Sunday or Monday. Okay, so here's baby Betty going into our shortcake. So I just want 1/2 cup and maybe just a little bit more. Okay. I'm not doing precise measurements on this because I've made these before, and I just kind of eyeball it a little bit when it comes to Betty. And I also know that this is a cup. It's my little jelly cup. Okay, so now we are going to mix this all together, and we want it to start forming a little bit of a ball. And I may have to add more whipping cream in there, or heavy cream in there, to make her crumbly. So I want her crumbly, and I want her to form a ball. And I'm gonna probably have to get my hands in here, so she's gonna start quickly kind of melting. So we're gonna work fairly fast. I'm gonna put a little flour on this countertop. I'm still maneuvering a small kitchen all the time. And I always wash my countertops as soon as I'm getting ready to cook. I immediately wash all my countertops because I do have cats, and as much as I rarely see them on the counters, and if I do, I get onto them, but I have cameras in my house and I see those suckers getting on these counters when I'm not home. So I make sure they are very clean before I do any cooking in my kitchen. So I wipe down everything before I, especially am gonna be working with flour on the countertop. So we wanna go ahead and get our pan ready so we can get this ball formed, cut, and immediately in the oven. And I've got my sheet pan and parchment paper, and it's very loud, I know, but we're going to crumble this up into a tight ball. And if you watched my pancake video, I showed you guys how to do this and my why. Because it stays in your pan so much better when it is crumbled. Then you uncrumble it. And I take my kitchen scissors and you just kind of cut off those big pieces that you don't need. Okay? And then you have your parchment paper, and it stays in so much better in the pan when it's been crumpled. As you can see, ooh, kind of loud. So I'm just gonna sprinkle my countertop so my dough doesn't stick. And then I am going to get my dough out. Okay, so my neighbor is mowing. I'm surprised they can even see the lawn, but they're mowing, and it makes my dogs crazy. As you can hear, hey, Benny, no. You can hear Ruby barking back in the bedroom at her window. I call it her window. So I apologize in advance, but we got to get this dough worked. So we're just going to kind of form it into a ball here, and press it and fold, press and fold. And that way we can get that butter all in there. And you can see, hopefully, I don't know if you can see the butter in there or not, but we're going to kind of press this out now into a 7-inch-ish, 8 inches circle. I'm just gonna put a little more on my hands. Okay, and like I said, you want to work kind of fast, so that's why I apologize for my dogs barking, but I have to keep working. I thought maybe my nice YouTube music in the background that I always have playing. I always have spa music, or right now they've got one of my favorites. It's called June. It may be too big. Cozy June Listens or something like that, and they have pretty sceneries, and so I love that. Okay, so I've got about probably a little bit bigger than an 8-inch, 7-inch. Okay, so we got a circle here, and we're gonna want a good knife, and you're gonna make probably 8 pieces, I would say. Let's see, yeah. And then we're just gonna put them right on our pan and bake them. Okay, so let's put these on here. And you're gonna bake this for about, I kind of keep an eye on it, but basically you're gonna bake it, I do 450 for about 5-ish minutes, maybe a little bit longer, not much though. And I should put these the opposite way so I can get them all on there without them touching. And then we are going to do another bake. We're gonna take it out, and then we're gonna turn our oven down to about 375. and we're going to bake them at 375 for the rest of the bake. Okay, so there we go. You can see we have all of our pieces here, and I have 8 pieces. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands again. Okay, so I'm just gonna put about a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon in here, and I'm gonna melt this in the microwave. Because we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top of that butter so we can get kind of a nice sugary crust on top with that butter and sugar. Okay. Doesn't usually take too long. I think I do a brush right here. Okay. We're just gonna brush some butter on these guys. I can't believe I almost forgot this part. This is like the key to these guys. Well, besides the sourdough. And again, these are remind me a lot of scones as well, which we'll be making some scones too. I love a good scone with coffee. Okay, so now we just got a little bit of sugar, and we're just going to kind of sprinkle this over. Oh, some are gonna have a little bit more sugar than others. We're gonna put them in the oven for 5 minutes at 450, and then we're gonna bring them out right at 5 minutes and let the temperature go down, and then we are going to put them back in. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer. Alexa, set the timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Love her. Okay, so I am going to clean up a little bit while these are in for 5 minutes. Okay, so the timer has gone off. It's been 5 minutes, so we're gonna take them out of the oven. Oh, they're spreading nicely already. They really remind me of scones. It just makes me crave scones. And I am going to turn the oven down to 350. I'm gonna put these back in as soon as it gets down to 350, and then I am going to do a little Betty housekeeping, and I'll bring you back for that. So I have the scones in the oven at 350, and like I said, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Mine are usually good about 13, so I set my timer for 13. So because she's going to go on a vacation, because I can't get to her for a while, and there's no sense in me feeding her and discarding every day and wasting the flour if I'm not going to be using the discard. And that's my personal opinion and preference. You can do what you want, but I'm not going to use It's Tuesday. I'm probably not going to use her until Sunday or Monday. And so I want to bring her out of the refrigerator about Saturday, let her come to room temperature, feed her in the evening, and then the next day feed her in the morning, and then she'll probably be ripe and ready to bake again with. She doesn't need quite as much TLC when she comes out of vacation. So because I am gonna put her on vacation, I do wanna put her on, put a lid on her that I can screw on fairly tight as well, because that's where she's gonna be. And as you can see, I've got quite a messy jar. That is not gonna work for Betty. Betty needs and deserves better than that. Okay, so I have a nice clean mason jar for Betty. What I have left of her in here, and we're gonna transfer her home. And this jar has been cleaned, and I'm gonna have about 3 ounces, I believe. We'll see. If you can do this without making a mess, kudos to you. I can't ever transfer her without making a mess. And it's on ounces, which is good. I want that for now. I'm gonna zero it out. I'm gonna put her on top, clear that out. I'm gonna get my filtered water that's at room temperature. And I'm gonna put about 3 ounces in here. Oh, 4 1/4. I was thinking 4 instead of 3. I do this all the time. Okay, well, she's really gonna be fed well. And it's okay, she'll be fine with that much. It's just that it's a small jar. I really wanted to put only 3 ounces in. And I am gonna give her a big stir. Okay, so I'm gonna put her back on. I'm going to zero her out. And now, oh, Alexa, stop timer. All right, let's take a look at these and see if they are ready. I'm gonna let them, they're not quite where I would want them just yet. So I'm gonna put them in probably for 2 more minutes. Okay, so now we're gonna put 4 ounces and 1/4 in. And this is gonna fill my jar up fairly well. 4 1/4, perfect. So we're just gonna mix this up really good again. Got a nice clean jar for vacation. There's our 2-minute timer, perfect timing. All right, sweet Betty. I'm gonna put this on her. We're just gonna take her just like this and we're gonna put her in the refrigerator and she's gonna go on her Arctic holiday. Have fun, Betty. Okay, so that is Betty. So we've got our shortbread out. They look really good. I'm gonna move them over here. I'm gonna turn my oven off because we don't need it on anymore. They have a nice, pretty brown texture to them. Let's let these cool. I'm gonna clean up my kitchen a little bit and then I'm gonna come back and I'm just gonna make a little bit of heavy whipping cream for me to do a taste test with. And then tomorrow at work, like I said, I will make a big bowl of really good whipping cream. But tonight we're just gonna do a little bit so we can have a nice taste test, okay? So I will be right back. Make my whipped cream in this bowl. And I'm really not gonna measure out because it's just for me. Tomorrow it'll be 2 full cups of this with powdered sugar and I will taste it to make sure it's kind of the right taste to sugar. Some people don't put sugar in theirs at all or they'll put granulated sugar. I put in powdered sugar because it mixes, I think, better. So I am just going to kind of eyeball it here a little bit, just enough for me. I am just gonna do a spoonful, not even a spoonful of powdered sugar in here. And I really don't want to get my mixer out. So I'm gonna try to do this by hand because not everybody back in the day had a mixer when they made whipped cream. They just got on it. Really get our wrist going here and see if we can't make our own whipped cream without me having to get my blender out. This may be an epic fail. I just don't want to clean the blender tonight, but I will if I have to. But I'm not sure I can because my arms are already getting tired. It's a little heavier. This is a workout. Oh, but we're getting there. Look at there. There's something kind of fun about it too. So here we go. I'm just gonna do a small one, one of the smaller ones, and I forgot the strawberries. I have the strawberries here, and let's get this fun spoon. Get that one, isn't that cool? So we're going to put just a few little strawberries down there at the bottom. And then I am just going to break this apart. See it? Because it's 20 till 10. I don't want to eat too much, but I also want to try a little bite of it. That's really good. The butter and the sugar on top, It's very biscuity. It's really, really good. We're gonna put more strawberries on top of this. Look at that. We're gonna put that right on top. All right. And then just a few strawberries and some juice on top. Look at that. Doesn't that look so good? I'm so excited. Okay, so let's try a bite of it. Homemade strawberry sourdough shortcake with homemade whipped cream on top and farmer's market strawberries. What a delightful treat. It's not too sweet, but it's just perfect. It's great. And the strawberries will be even better tomorrow when they sat overnight and they have much more sweetness to them and more juice to them as well. But goodness, this is such a great dessert. Thank you for coming along with Betty and I. And I can't even show you Betty because, as you know, she is on her Arctic vacation, aka resting in the refrigerator. And she will be back next week with more delicious discard dishes. Hey, coal battle. No. I don't know how you teach a cat to say no. Powdered sugar and our cherries. Not our cherries. Our strawberries. Strawberry shortcake, Nikki. Okay, I don't even know where I was.